Welcome to my theory presentation on transformational leadership theory. Let's start with a little bit of history. Transformational leadership theory is rooted in the work of Dr. James Burns. Dr. Burns is actually regarded as a founder of modern leadership theory. Transformational leadership theory, as described by Dr. Burns, is actually paired with another concept called transactional leadership. The two kind of work to contrast one another in the theory. We'll discuss a little bit more about this in the next slide. A little bit of background about the transformational leadership guru. Dr. Burns is a Pulitzer Prize winning presidential biographer, as well as a pioneer in the study of leadership. He spent a lot of his professional life studying leadership, and in 1978 he published a seminal work in the field called Leadership. His theory on transformational leadership has been the basis of many doctoral dissertations, research articles, leadership books, and so on and so forth. So let's look at the difference between transformational leadership and transactional leadership. Transformational leadership is much more facilitative in nature. A transformational leader is going to be a facilitator who is focused on change and results beyond the expected. A transformational leader is going to be one who is going to try to lead others, and in doing so is going to get high engagement and motivation of others to change and get those results beyond what is expected. A good example of a transformational leader would be a principal who is interested in getting higher student achievement in a school. Such a leader is going to try to employ techniques that is going to get others bought into this process so that they could achieve change. A transactional leader, on the other hand, or transactional leadership, is going to be much more top-down in nature. It's also going to serve to maintain the status quo. It's going to be more interested on a quid pro quo or exchange of services kind of basis. A principal who is more of a transactional leader, instead of looking to inspire others to get higher student achievement, might say, let's offer some extra tutorial, I have a stipend for you. A transactional leader can be effective when operational or management tasks are more at the center. So which is better, transformational or transactional? Well, leaders should demonstrate both transactional and transformational behaviors. The caveat here is that when one is looking to reform or change an organization, transformational qualities must be predominant. Again, when one is looking to change something, to go beyond the expected, transformational leadership qualities are going to be those that are required. So what distinguishes a transformational leader from others? Well, from the foundation laid by Burns, others have expanded upon transformational leadership theory. One particular guru in this regard is Bernard Bass. He characterized 4 specific behaviors demonstrated by transformational leaders. These behaviors have become known as the 4 I's, as displayed in this matrix: individual consideration, intellectual stimulation, inspirational motivation, and idealized influence. Take a moment to read which goes along with each of these I's. At this point, it's important to recognize that the work of Burns, Bass, and others who embraced and spoke about transformational leadership did so from a much more business management or military viewpoint. So the question is, what does any of this theory have to do with education? Well, enter Kenneth Leithwood. The work of Dr. Leithwood and his colleagues began to bridge the gap and apply the theory to the world of education. Dr. Leithwood is credited with applying transformational leadership theory to the world of education. He is a professor of educational leadership and policy at the University of Toronto and his research and writing is extensive and widely read, probably by many of you listening to this right now. In one of his first articles about transformational school leadership, Dr. Leithwood is going to lay out 3 particular goals of a transformational school leader. The first goal of a transformational leader is to help create and maintain a collaborative professional school culture. For example, this would be where staff members often talk, observe, critique, and plan together. Second, a transformational school leader would foster teacher growth and development. Thirdly, he or she would encourage and facilitate effective and collective problem solving. Basically, a transformational leader is going to have a belief that the staff as a whole is going to develop better solutions to problems than him or herself as the principal would do alone. Dr. Leithwood will go a little bit further and apply transformational leadership's 4 I's as determined by Bernard Bass, as developed by Bernard Bass, and will apply them to the world of education. So let's look at this matrix. Individual consideration. This is when an educational leader would provide one-on-one time with detached or disenfranchised teachers to help them embrace the vision and mission. You have to have a real pulse of the school and of the individuals in the school in order to be effective at this I as an effective transformational principle. Intellectual stimulation. A transformational leader here would discourage the continuous retelling of war stories or of complaining about students in staff meetings, and instead replace those sessions with brainstorming solutions on how to deal with the issues that teachers are experiencing on a daily basis. How do we make them better? Let's not just complain, let's make them better. Inspirational motivation. This is a principal who's going to communicate high expectations for all stakeholders. Failure is not an option could be an example. And in a school with an effective transformational principle, this concept is going to be heard no matter where one goes. Classrooms, PTSA meetings, student government associating meetings. This is going to be what the school lives and breathes. The 4th I is idealized influence, and a transformational educational leader with this I is going to do so by being the model teacher and learner for others to follow and embrace. They're going to be the lead teacher in the building. They're going to be participating in professional learning, and they're going to expect others to do so as well. So, what are the behaviors of a transformational leader? If we were to go into a school with a transformational leader, what would we see? Well, we would see an environment where expectations are high for all stakeholders. We would see an active, participating transformational leader or principal who is in PLC meetings, participating, questioning, working to improve the processes. We would see a highly visible principal who is in classrooms, in hallways, and as I stated earlier, in these professional learning meetings. We would see a leader who is an active listener, who responds to staff and student needs and concerns in a timely, caring fashion. We would see someone who involves the entire staff in fulfilling the school's vision and mission. Again, the collective is more effective than the individual. To this same theory, they would share power. A transformational leader would distribute leadership amongst his or her staff. They would publicly recognize student and staff achievements and make this part of the daily routine. And they would encourage risk-taking and experimentation in the classroom. Again, not everything is going to work, but we won't know unless we try. And then we can learn, tweak, and try to make better the next time. So what are some particular research questions that somebody studying transformational leadership might ask? Well, how about what effect does a principal who practices transformational leadership have on student achievement? Or does a transformational leader create a more positive school climate than a transactional leader? Or define the behaviors of a transformational high school principal. A particular article that could be of interest for someone wanting to look more into the concept of transformational leadership theory is actually written by one of our gurus, Dr. Leithwood. It's a more current article written in 2012 where he is seeking to, again, look at the effects of transformational school leadership as he is continuing to look for those leadership behaviors that have the most influence on student achievement. Here is a link for a brief video clip, a couple of minutes. The person at the center of it is Wendy Kopp, who is the founder of Teach for America. And Teach for America speaks a lot about the need for transformational leaders in schools. And so it really does apply to this theory that we're talking about. So I thought it might be interesting so you can hear some of the same terminology applied in a educational organization that is widely renowned, Teach for America. Thank you all for your time. I hope you learned a little something. If you have any questions, concerns, need clarity, feel free to contact me. Until next time.